All right, hey guys, welcome back to the Sagey Bard podcast, where we discuss business, finance, health, wealth, and social issues. Today we're going to be talking about something in the news, kind of a big story, Trevor Bauer, and we're also going to be discussing, what's our second topic? We're going to be discussing Zimbabwe and
the white Miss Zimbabwe.
The white Miss Zimbabwe, which is causing a lot of issues. So we want to discuss that. We think we have a pretty good some pretty good perspective on that. So before we get into the video, guys, if you could do us a huge favor, and if you're supporting our channel, if you've been watching, we would really appreciate a like. And I want to thank my subs from my other channel from coming over. Thank you guys for signing up. If you could give us a like, and please also subscribe. We need we have a goal of 1,000 subscribers, so please give us a subscription. And let's get into it. So the first topic we're going to talk about is, you want to get into Trevor Bauer first?
Well, actually, we have...
you want to talk about the Mrs. Zimbabwe?
Yes. So
okay.
the title of our episode today is Not Racist Enough and Believe All Women.
Yes,
okay?
Because you got to believe all women.
So what we're talking about here today is, in September, a white woman won Miss Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. And this has sparked a lot of controversy and discussions on beauty, racism, colonialism in Africa, which until recently was or at least in Zimbabwe, which was until recently controlled by Robert Mugabe, who fought against the colonizers, the British government, and eventually did a lot of damage to the country as well by kicking out a lot of the former white farmers and everything else. But today, to give you guys an idea, Zimbabwe is 98% black, and they have a white Miss Zimbabwe. And she was the only white contestant out of 25 beautiful participants.
Right.
And I'm not saying that she isn't beautiful. I'm just saying that when we're looking at a beauty pageant, it's an interesting topic, because for so many years in so many countries, black women were barred from participating in beauty pageants. And now, after 22 years of not participating in having any beauty pageants in Zimbabwe, you have a white Miss Zimbabwe.
It's fascinating.
It's
how's that happen?
You know,
let's put her picture up on the screen so you guys can take a look at. Her name is Brooke. I don't know her last name. It's like something Johnson.
Brooke Jackson. I mean, she's got a.
Is it Jackson or Johnson?
Jackson.
It's a hyphenated.
I think
last
it's
name,
Brooke
right?
Brooke Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
she looks like she's of probably Dutch descent or something. She actually reminded me when I was looking at her, and I think I mentioned this to you. She reminds me of Megyn Kelly from Fox News. Megyn Kelly is half
Italian and half German, I think.
Yeah.
Or half Italian and half something. I forgot. But yeah, she does have that look. It could be a British look. It would make sense with the British being there, but I know in that region there's also
the Boers,
a lot of the Boers, the Dutch settlers. I don't want to call them settlers, colonizers. Let's just call them what they are. People who show up and think they can just take over.
And this has actually sparked a lot of backlash in Zimbabwe, where, again, I said 98% of the country is black. So then, when we have a black Miss America, we've got black Miss France, we've got black women women of black descent who have represented countries from Finland to Sweden to Switzerland over the last 20 years. Why is this controversial? Why is it controversial in Africa?
I see where you're going, Sagey, and it definitely, it definitely makes a lot of sense. And obviously neither of us are Zimbabwean.
Yeah.
Neither of us have lived on a continent of Africa, but this is global news. So for our people who may be watching in Zimbabwe, we do have an opinion on this because there are similarities in other countries. Now, my personal take on it is First of all, Miss Zimbabwe, any pageant, are they calling this a beauty? First of all, is it a beauty pageant? Or is it talent, achievements, and beauty? What does it comprise of? That's my first thing, because if it's just beauty, then it becomes really subjective.
Well, I think it's basically a beauty pageant. And so then, in today's world, society, are beauty pageants outdated?
Some people are calling for that.
Are they demeaning to women?
Some people say they are. I don't. But if that's demeaning, and not to get off topic, but if a beauty pageant's demeaning to women, what are 90% of the women doing on social media? Taking all these, are they demeaning themselves? I would say yes, some are.
They have their own choice to do that.
And they're doing it.
Yeah. But they're getting rich doing it.
Yeah, they're getting rich. So,
but when we're looking at this,
there's nothing different here then.
When we're looking at a beauty pageant to represent one's country, like Miss Zimbabwe, it's kind of different. For example, when you're looking at the Olympics, right? The Olympics can be comprised of whomever, and that's based on physical traits that allow you to run faster, jump farther, jump higher, or run longer than someone else, and there's a bunch of other, swim faster as well. But when we're looking at a beauty pageant, it's usually looking at kind of what embodies my country. What is representative of my nation?
Right.
And one of the things that I mentioned to you is...
Another argument there, yeah.
Isn't it wonderful that living in the United States, you could have someone who's African American or Chinese
or Indian,
or Chinese, I wouldn't say Asian, Indian,
Chinese
white,
specific,
yeah, all of them could represent the United States.
They could, yeah. That's because I think the United States prides itself, sociologically, we've had terms in the 80s, salad bowl versus melting pot. There's that argument. Pluralism is sort of what defines us in the minds of some Caucasian people. They represent the country and we're just the other, but that's not true. It's pluralism, right? Now, is pluralism what defines Zimbabwe? That's the key.
Yes.
So if Zimbabweans see themselves as a pluralistic nation, which in my estimation, I don't believe they do, hence all the...
Correct.
Right? I believe South Africa sees themselves as more of a pluralistic nation. They call themselves a rainbow nation. There, it would make more sense for a white Miss South Africa or an Indian Miss South Africa, because they're more like the United States. Go ahead.
I think you bring up a valid point, because when our viewers, when you look at the contestants for Miss Zimbabwe 2023, you can see there's 25 very beautiful women. There is one woman who looks totally white, which is Brooke.
Yeah.
And by the way, she was selected as Miss Zimbabwe by an all-black panel.
That's another factor. Well, now, do we know the makeup of the judges, like the demographics of the judges? Were they black men, white men?
We don't. Well, no, they were all black.
They were all black, but men or women?
We don't know.
See, then there's another angle. We don't have the information, but we could speculate. If it's mainly black men, then this whole thing goes layers down when it comes to politicization. If it's all black men, then women could complain that black men don't appreciate black women, which is an argument.
Or even worse, black women who selected her don't appreciate themselves.
So there really is no winning in this.
No, there isn't.
But we're going to talk about it anyway.
Well, when you look at it, it's like, that's why we say, are you not racist enough? Because, see, if you say you don't represent Zimbabwe, then we only have to have a black person, then you're racist. And if you pick Brooke, then you are racist maybe in a different way.
Right.
And so I want to inject a different thing into it. Okay. We said that, or you said that at another point, South Africa had views itself as a rainbow nation, where they're kind of well on their way to having like a melting pot type of nation. Mm-hmm. And Zimbabwe, which was called Rhodesia in the past, after Cecil Rhodes, also had a significant white population. until Robert Mugabe basically took their land and kicked out most of them in the 1980s.
Right, and we can argue. Okay, anyway, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, exactly. We'll leave that about whether it was right or wrong. I kind of think that you can't make a right out of two wrongs, but anyways, I understand what his goal was, and there's some validity to what he was trying to do.
Yeah, it's Africa. It's their land.
But when we're looking at this, if you only have one white contestant out of 25, one of the things that first pops up, and you have an all-black panel of judges, perhaps because Robert Mugabe is dead, and a lot of his policies have thankfully died with him.
Yeah.
Hopefully inflation will be one of them. But anyway, rampant inflation.
Yeah.
But maybe it's kind of throwing a bone out to the former white population that was there, who have investments and money and view themselves as Africans.
Could be a political play.
And it could be a very smart political business play, which is saying, hey, this is the new Zimbabwe.
Right.
We want you to return. This is your home. Come back and bring your dollars or pounds or rubles or whatever it is with you.
Just bring them all.
Yeah, we'll take anything.
Maybe this is a move. I like this angle because see, a lot of these beauty pageants are politicized. Let's just be honest. It's a way to show favor, to curry favor, right? I know there was a lot of suspicion behind a Miss China, Miss Universe, a Chinese woman winning, and all these women are beautiful. Let's just be honest. But
we can look at this, and you guys are free to make your own, make your own choice. But there's 25 beautiful women up there. I definitely don't think that Brooke, she might be beautiful, but I don't think she's the most beautiful person on the screen right there.
And I think that's where the discussion gets interesting, because what is it based on? If this is a beauty pageant, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. We have two beholders here, and millions more who don't agree with her being there. At first, there are people on several levels who don't think she belongs there. Number one, there are people who are angry because she's white and she doesn't represent the nation. Okay, that's one topic we're discussing. Then there are people who are like, she's not pretty.
Yeah, and
that's a whole different dag.
And for whatever it is, she met the criteria to be on the platform, so
she has a fair chance of winning.
She has she should have had a 1 in 25 chance of winning.
Right.
But the fact is that, are these people then looking and viewing her through a different lens because she's kind of a unicorn in a country that's 98% black?
Right.
And then they're looking and saying, well, because white people have defined what beauty is, our lens of looking at beauty and understanding, interpreting beauty is through a white lens, and that would be a problem.
That's a major problem. See, I'm gonna be honest. In sort of a selfish way, I do enjoy beauty pageants as a man, because I enjoy beauty, and I think beauty's a great thing. I'm looking at some of these women, we'll put them up on the screen here. Look at Audrey. Audrey at the top, towards the right. Beautiful, absolutely stunning. I would think she's prettier than Brooke. Not that Brooke, everyone's beautiful. I don't believe human beings, it's just our personal taste.
Yeah.
Everyone in the screen is beautiful in their own way, and beautiful to someone else, right? But beauty has to be measured against some sort of standard, and you make a point when it comes to whiteness, right? A Eurocentric standard. Now, I'll be honest. Looking at Brooke in this picture, she looks biracial. I'm gonna be honest. She looks like she has mixed background.
It's possible.
She looks a little bit like Candace Owens, to be honest. Right there.
Yeah, like a lighter skinned Candace Owens.
She does. She looks like she has mixed racial background, which is possible if her family has been there for 300 years.
I'd be happier in this case if she was.
Right, and I think a lot of Zimbabweans would be happy as well. But then you got to keep in mind, a lot of people aren't happy. Someone's always going to be mad.
Correct.
You could have a light-skinned black woman win. Oh, why are we going to have light-skinned black women? Why can't it be a dark-skinned black woman? It's never ending. A part of me is like, a part of me is like, beauty pageants are they're possibly damaging to people, to young women. It, like, no matter who wins, there's always something.
Well, they are. I mean, and so the other thing is, when we're looking at this, you've had people of black or other ethnic groups that have won beauty pageants in Italy, Sweden, Germany, Holland, Switzerland, the UK, all over the place, the United States. But before that happened, these different groups experienced significant racism against them. For example, in the United States, it was only 40 years ago that Vanessa Williams became Miss America.
Was it that long ago?
It was that long ago. And there was a lot of controversy over that. And prior to that, in American history, there were 60 years where black women couldn't even participate, or women of black descent
couldn't participate.
They couldn't even participate in beauty pageants. And so when we're looking at this, why is it that in Europe, where they were the colonizers, they're now looking and saying, wow, these people are beautiful. We want them to represent us because we think they're the most beautiful women in our country.
And that's a great place to interject the notion of scarcity. Mm-hmm. Whenever a certain ethnic group is scarce in a country, they become beautiful to people. They become exotic. But people are like, whoa. I mean, I have a favorite Brazilian that I like, right? Uh-huh. I won't mention any names. But because we don't see that many Brazilians in the United States, they're scarce and they become special. So it becomes easy to pedestalize them and say, oh, wow, this person's beautiful. And I would say the same, I've lived overseas. I know what it's like to be pedestalized. I know where I stand in the United States, and I know where I stand overseas, which is why the passport bros go overseas. Let me just put that in real quick. And which is why they win overseas too. But so scarcity is the argument.
But here you go. When we look at this, maybe there's another angle. So you'll see some of these pictures. We're going to put up Miss Peru, Miss France 1993, who I don't think is beautiful at all. Miss France 2023, who I think is a lot more beautiful. You have Miss Italy, who is an immigrant from the Dominican Republic, I think, to Italy. Yeah.
She looks like it.
These were all winners in Europe. Okay, Europe or Peru. But when we're looking at this, is there a difference, though, where the Europeans don't see...
Oh, she was Miss Guadeloupe. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Veronique. Oh, no, that's Miss France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when we're looking at this, is there a difference, though? Because in Africa, where Miss Brooke Jackson won, she might still be viewed as a colonizer, whereas back in Europe, other groups have voluntarily gone back to Europe.
Right.
And one was where you had another culture that was kind of pushed on you.
Right.
And another was where you willingly accepted these people as immigrants.
Right. So there's a social dynamic to it. And
correct.
Am I social, is that the right word in terms of
sociocultural,
maybe even socioeconomic, in terms of colonizer being the ones with the money, everyone else is subjugated, being stripped of opportunity and wealth in their own country, in their own view. And in Italy, or let's say if we reverse the roles, we put a black woman there, she's an immigrant, maybe she's treated a little bit better because you're not in the colonizer mindset. You're just at home. You're chilling. And
well, there's another component to this too. You could look at at U.S. history in border states where Hispanic women didn't face the same amount of racism as men. So then what happens is a woman oftentimes historically has been viewed as an extension of her husband or her partner. Mm-hmm. So if the man is accepted, then the woman is. Okay, number one. But number two, if you're an attractive woman,
right?
Okay, then it doesn't matter what country you're from.
Right.
Men are going to say, "Hey, you're attractive, and you're going to fit in."
And you're in.
Yeah, you're in.
Just like that.
So then, when we're looking at these beauty pageants, attractive women have a place wherever they go.
Right, which is hence why I was asking what's the demographic makeup of the judges in terms of gender. Because if it's all black guys,
Yeah.
I could see why she's there.
Yeah.
Because even if she's not as beautiful as we would think she is, as beautiful as others, even though we may not see her as beautiful, once we inject scarcity, there's not many of these white women in the country. So then these black guys are like, whoa, she's pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when you reverse the roles and then now you're in there where you're the minority and they're the majority, now you get all the pretty girls, the
Yep.
real pretty girls, and then you get to be the one picking. So I think scarcity has a big play in this. Plus the economics. I think they are pandering.
Well, and then you also have other cases, and you'll be able to see some of these women. They're all beautiful. You have Miss Ariana Miyamoto. Her mom was Japanese. Her dad was African American. And she won Miss Japan in 2015. That sparked a lot of controversy.
With controversy.
Yeah.
Huge amounts of controversy. But she's half Japanese.
Yeah.
So she has the
And
DNA.
she grew up in Japan.
And she grew up in Japan. She has. So now, which is interesting because we said that Miss Zimbabwe, I think she looks kind of biracial in that second picture
Yeah.
we put up, and I'll put it back up so you guys can see. And then the picture that we see that was portrayed from the Miss Zimbabwe pageant, she looks more white there. And with people who are multiracial, sometimes as their faces, as you see them at different angles, you see the different races sometimes, these different ethnicities.
And the thing is, these conversations that are happening in other parts of the world, whether it was in Japan about 10 years ago and now in Zimbabwe, are just mirroring conversations that we've had in the United States. For example, with Miss Vanessa, or Miss America, Miss Vanessa Williams from 1983. And you'll see a picture of her. I mean, she was obviously beautiful.
Multiracial.
Yeah, but these are conversations that we're kind of getting the tail end of, I think, and I hope, that we're going to be able to move past this as human beings.
All right, so let's we're about to wrap up here this segment, but final statements. I think it's complicated.
It is complicated.
There are a lot of variables, and I don't think you're ever going to make everyone happy. Let's just say, even if it's all white, I don't think everyone's going to agree that she's pretty.
No.
There's always going to be people who have sides, and I don't think
I don't find her to be that attractive, but
someone does though.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Right.
Like, because we all view and appreciate different things. I think that what's important about this topic specifically, especially for women in Zimbabwe and African countries, is that it should spark a conversation about what it is that what beauty is.
Right.
And to have a dialogue to understand that these types of people, like Miss Brooke Jackson, they can be divisive, or they can be a talking point to bring us towards some kind of unity.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. And on that note, let's go ahead and we're going to wrap up this section, and we'll be right back where we're going to talk about Trevor Bauer and how he got caught up in a, let's call it a honey trap. Yeah, sort of. All right, we'll be right back.
Okay, guys, so what we're going to be talking about next is one of my favorite topics, baseball. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were going to say believe all women.
No, but this is a believe all women story. And this is about how this whole believe all women thing has been taken too far in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And we're going to point out the case of Trevor Bauer, who was one of baseball's best pitchers as recently as 2020 when he won the Cy Young Award.
So he's a Dodger.
He was a Dodger. He was a Dodger. He was a Dodger before. He also played for the Cincinnati Reds and for the Cleveland Indians. He was a teammate of Garrett Cole, who pitches for the Yankees and he also went to UCLA. So he's got some Los Angeles, Southern California roots.
Got some LA roots.
Yeah, but what you can see here is, we'll put this up, but Trevor Bauer signed a huge deal that was much publicized for 2021, 2022, and 2023 to play with the Dodgers. The total value of this contract was about $102 million, with his 2021 compensation, it was supposed to be $45 million, or $45 million in 2022.
Pause for just a second. Guys, once again, go ahead and give us a like if you're watching, and if you've been watching our videos but you haven't subbed yet, we ask you to sub. We have a goal of 1,000 videos. We know we've been adding a lot of videos. Things are picking up. And with this Trevor Bauer story, before Sagey gets back in, we're kind of setting it up right now. But this involves there are some pretty interesting details. There is an accusation that was made by a woman.
Exactly. Well, with what happens here is Trevor Bauer, to summarize, became the highest paid baseball player because of being an excellent pitcher. He's always been a relatively unlikable person who has a bad temper, and there are famous incidences where when he's getting pulled out of a game, he took the baseball and threw it from the pitcher's mound into the stands over center field because he was angry at getting pulled out. So this is a very somewhat volatile guy, very open, very competitive, and he'll call people out for whether it was cheating or using pine tar on or different substances to grip a baseball.
To cheat.
Which would, cheat by changing the spin rate. But what happens here is Trevor Bauer signs this huge deal, comes back, because he's a California native, comes back to the Dodgers, and if you're going to play for two teams in baseball, you want to play for the Yankees or the Dodgers. They're the most recognizable franchises in baseball. They've got very storied histories. And so this was a real big thing for him. And what happens is, in 2021, he gets accused by a woman named Lindsay Hill.
Interesting.
Of abuse. So what she says is that, and she met him multiple times and claims that on multiple occasions they had rough sex and he basically beat her up during those episodes.
But she looks so pure, though. I mean, let's put that.
Well, and you guys can see a picture that was shown all over the country in 2021 of Lindsay Hill, and you can see she's got two black eyes. It looks like she's got, other bruising all over. And Trevor Bauer at the time said, "Hey, look, I might like doing some weird stuff, but I wasn't responsible for this." And he said, in the strongest possible terms, I deny committing any violation of the league's domestic violence and sexual assault policy.
So that's a quote that CNBC put up. Okay,
Yep.
All right.
So he was suspended by baseball initially. They were going to investigate it. Eventually, this suspension ran to 324 games, which, to give you an idea, is 2 baseball seasons long.
Right, that's a long time.
Because a baseball season is 162 games. He was getting suspended for 2 years.
Oof.
And he was suspended for 2 years.
Over an accusation, though.
Over an accusation.
Once again, back to Russell Brand situation, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's very similar to Russell Brand situation where you're tried in a court of public opinion, but there's no conviction. There's no actual investigation.
And it can happen to anyone. If you think you're immune to this, just let someone accuse you. Go ahead.
So then, basically, after they went back and forth, he ended up getting suspended for 194 games, not 324 games. But just recently, last week, he was able to finally be able to talk about this, because he said all along, I deny it. I am not paying this woman anything.
So it was a shakedown.
It was a shakedown.
And guys and people with money, not just men, it's typically men that fall victim to this, though. Women sometimes, but it's mainly men. And this is one of the easiest ways to cash out, is to accuse them of what? Sexual assault or battery.
I'm going to read you a little clip here. And this is a statement from John Fedoroff and Sean Hawley, Trevor Bauer's attorneys. It says, Trevor Bauer and Lindsay Hill had consensual rough sex, and the pretext call confirms that his version of events, the truth, never wavered despite her attempts to get him to admit what she told the police. So basically, she's on a phone call trying to bait him to say something.
I listened to that phone call.
And and what they're saying is, throughout the call, Mr. Bauer politely disagreed with her assessment multiple times while still trying to be thoughtful and courteous to a person he believed was a friend rather than a person trying to deliberately set him up by recording this call.
All right, so let me give you a few more details that I learned about it. I was listening to the audio on the way up. What happened was she had police officers, detectives sitting with her.
Yeah.
Guiding her, coaching her on how to do this. That's, my opinion. If we were to do that, it's entrapment.
Yeah.
If they do it, it's law enforcement. So, and turns out he was on a bus with the team, so we couldn't really talk about things the way he wanted to talk about it. So, which kind of makes sense because when you listen to it, you can hear that he's sort of quiet. He's trying not to speak too loudly.
Yeah.
And then she, on the other hand, sounds like a prosecuting attorney where she's like trying to bait him. It's obvious. Trying to get him to say stuff that, she's like, what's up with that? I never thought it was going to be like this. So she, in a way, sort of admits to being party to it. But once again, the gray area.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be level 10. I didn't know you're going to beat me up. So she's trying to insinuate. My opinion, if I'm a judge, I'm throwing this out. You agreed to rough sex.
Yeah.
You got your rough sex. Did you discuss levels? No.
Well, actually, they did.
They did.
So then he continuously notes that they discussed her preferences and boundaries in advance, how she asked him to be physical, and how he checked on her multiple times during intercourse to confirm that she was enjoying herself and to ensure that she wanted to continue, that he was following her lead. And that it was his understanding, based on what she told him, that she was experienced with and enjoyed that type of sex.
Based on what she had told him. Okay, all right. So, interesting. So, the fact that he's checking in with her, it shows that he's not the abusive type. He's not just trying to violate her.
The thing is, like I said, because he's volatile, right? Because he's so competitive, he has this history, and you can see clips of this on YouTube where he gets angry when he's getting pulled off the mound for really pitching poorly in a game, throws the ball into center field, and he's frustrated. So when you look at this image of him, it's easy for you to fall prey to this perception by the community at large. Well, you know what? He might have beat her up. And he says, when he's looking at the pictures of her with the black eyes and everything, he says he expressed his confusion at her alleged injuries, given what he did.
What he was doing.
And he was
like, I didn't hit you in the face.
This didn't take place.
Yeah. So let's
see, while there was consensual slapping at her request, he never punched Miss Hill.
Slapping doesn't cause black eyes like that.
No, it looks like someone socked her right in the nose.
Yeah, it looks like she got punched. Yeah, 2 black eyes is usually getting hit in the nose, and your nose breaking or...
Exactly. So then what happens, though, is in the court of public opinion, you put up these pictures, you say, look at this. This is a guy who's really frustrated. He's overly competitive. He gets angry. He calls out his teammates for cheating.
It's a nice setup.
A
potential.
And what happens is he wasn't ever able to release a lot of the shakedown that was going on behind the scenes.
Why was that, though? Why wasn't he allowed to release it? What happened? Was he ordered not to?
He was ordered not to by the court.
You see how these courts get in the way? It's like they're joining the setup,
Well, and here you go. You have text messages where it says, hey, this is his net worth. His net worth is $51 million. And then, bitch, you better secure the bag. Basically, you better get the money. And she's being advised by other professional athletes like that are pitchers, or other friends of hers that are on different teams. So then when you look at these chats between Miss Hill and the people who are advising her, including ex-Padres pitcher Jacob Nix. And I think that this guy should be punished as well.
Well, what did he do?
They're basically texting back and forth, and he's saying get the bag before and during her meetups with Bauer.
So so now here's where I want to push back, but let's look at it. Okay, So let's look at your angle, which could be correct. Mm-hmm. The angle that Sagey's putting forth could 100% be correct. Let's just say he slapped her, or maybe he didn't slap her, and they are trying to extract. This has been done over and over to rich people.
Oh yeah.
They're used as ATMs using the court system.
Well, this is a message from Lindsey Hill. It says, next victim, star pitcher of the Dodgers. So then that shows that she's going out and targeting him.
So
Yeah.
do we have any research on other victims, potential victims?
I haven't looked into it, but I'm sure.
But the fact that she's saying that is disturbing.
She had relationships with other professional athletes.
You know, and then again, I guess an attorney would probably argue, well, she was just being tongue in cheek.
Well, that's what she says.
Yeah.
When she says, what should I steal?
That's also very suspicious. That's also suspicious. You know,
And this is what Jacob Nix says. Take his money. Hill's friend allegedly responded with Bauer adding that they frequently mentioned his net worth across chats.
and I think here's the thing. Well, I'm just going to push back a little bit because I want to show how when women date rich guys, they brag about their money.
Yeah.
That's just a thing. Even if there's no crime, no accusation, they talk about the money part because women love that. They love money. When guys date beautiful women, they brag about how hot she is.
Well,
Simple, whether anything's happened or not. So now,
it's like I said, Scottie Pippen doesn't have 17 or 18 kids because he's so stunningly handsome.
no, he doesn't. His bank account's handsome, though. I'll tell you
Exactly.
That bank account's very handsome. All right, let's continue.
Okay, and then what she says, Lindsey Hill continues on. Lindsey Hill is the accuser who says that she was beaten up by Trevor Bauer. She says, I already have my hooks in. His net worth is $51 million.
So this is what she allegedly texted her friend. I think they put allegedly.
Well, it's not
in the
alleged.
article.
I mean, it's from her phone.
Right.
So
They just don't want to get sued. But
exactly.
Yeah.
And then she goes on, and the friend advises again. This is Jacob Nix. He says, you better get his bag. So Jacob Nix is an ex-Padres pitcher. He's also a professional baseball player.
Right. And he's encouraging this.
He's encouraging this. Why is he doing
What's
that?
his motivation?
Maybe
he wants to.
I've never heard
get
of
with
Jacob
her.
Nix. He was unsuccessful, and he wasn't as successful as Trevor Bauer. So what does he get out of it?
So let me look at this. So let's go back to this. Women are encouraged to get the bag whenever a man's involved, right?
Yeah.
Because women are hypergamous, and this is just in general. You know, I watch so much red pill content for research purposes and so much Passport Bros and the dating content. And one of the main complaints is, you know, even Kevin Samuels talks about this, high value man. Women, they show up on a show, well, can he cheat on you? He's just going down a list. Sure. As long as he's rich. The lust for money in general is bad enough. But then now we have, she's clearly a gold digger.
Well,
I have my hooks in. Come on. She's a gold digger.
From the beginning, I was way more in Trevor Bauer's camp. I thought that it was ridiculous, but Lindsey Hill met with him multiple times after they had this
So-called rough sex.
Yeah, rough sex. So then, if it was so bad the first time and you got beaten up so badly, would you go back and do that again?
So was it on the first time that she got beat up?
She got beat up both times, according to her.
And so she kept coming back. So it wasn't
Yes.
that bad then?
Well, unless she's completely retarded.
Okay, which is also...
It's entirely possible.
Which is entirely possible.
See,
So, yeah.
what I want to point out, though, is the court of public opinion tried and convicted a professional baseball player of being guilty of domestic violence and sexual abuse. This took away 2 years of his professional baseball career. So when you're looking at where is your place among the all-time greats in baseball, you can't take away 2 years of someone's prime and have them be able to compete and be able to look at your records at the end of your life and say they had a fair shake.
Right.
I mean, your career is forever altered. Last year, he didn't even get one single offer by a baseball team. Not one team offered him any money or to play for them, even though he had not been convicted.
It's the...
He was blackballed.
Yeah, it's a toxic... He becomes a toxic asset.
Yeah, he went to play in Japan for about $2.75 million for the Yokohama Dana Baystars. I mean, for a guy who just won the Cy Young Award and was one of the best pitchers in baseball, he should have been worth conservatively $35 million.
Yeah, it's the point we're getting at, guys, is the court of public opinion is a problem, and it's destroying lives.
Oh yeah,
we've seen it destroy many lives, and it's an accusation that men have a very difficult time shaking.
And I want to read you some of these comments, and these comments are from 2 years ago. Imagine if you are Trevor Bauer, or you're Trevor Bauer's sister or brother, mom, dad, family, teammates, and you're listening and you're reading this. I'm going to read you some of these comments.
First one at the top is crazy.
Yeah. Yes, she has issues, but this guy is a sick guy. This is what serial killers are made of. Only a serial killer would do this in the bedroom.
So now he's a serial killer.
Okay, yeah.
And look how many people rated it up. 216 people versus 64 down.
Yeah.
So people agree with this foolishness.
Well, look at the second one. If the first sexual encounter in April turned violent, why did she consent to the second encounter in May? It makes no sense to me.
Well, she asked for it to be violent, but maybe...
Well, she specifically asked. I mean, the text messages that we've shared here are not nearly all of them. She specifically says, I want it rougher. She wants...
Rougher.
Yes.
So in comparison to the first time.
Exactly.
So she's building either she's building a pretext for this shakedown, which happens, or she's just really into this stuff and twisted.
So
sorry if that's your preference, but
and this is the third comment. Dodgers are careless of the allegations. They would have released him if they really cared. Pathetic organization. So this is where the organization is also taking flack. If you kept Trevor Bauer, and the Dodgers are worth over $5 billion, we're not going to support an organization like this because you basically have a rapist. Okay, or. Listen to this.
Is she claiming he raped her, though? Is that one of her claims? Or he beat her? Sexual assault?
Yeah, tantamount to rape, almost.
Because he punched her in the face, so...
Yeah.
She's not... So she... Okay, so the complaint is about the bruises on her face. Is that what the complaint's about?
Well, that, and she said she had all kinds of other damage from getting punched, scratched, clawed, choked.
So it's more of a battery case than anything. Yeah. So it should be. So why? So okay. All right.
Okay, and then listen to this quote. Or this comment from a person. Put him down like they'd put down any rabid animal.
That's crazy. And 97 upvotes on that.
Yeah.
Versus 52 down. That's insane.
This dude is sick and disgusting. Just imagine if you're Trevor Bauer and you're reading this and you can't even defend yourself because you've got a gag order.
Yeah.
Okay. So and you have other communication. But you're not able to divulge that because you're not allowed to. And then you have to take 2 years off of your career.
So it makes you look guilty.
It makes you look guilty.
I wonder what brought this on to Trevor Bauer. I wonder if he started talking about the Democratic Party, if this is why. Talking about corruption in the government. Could that be possibly? Does he have a YouTube channel we don't know about and a Rumble?
He actually does have
a brand. To what's his name?
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand.
But basically, when we're looking at this, Bart, the situation here is, I think that fortunately, with the whole Me Too movement and everything, we're beginning to move slightly past that. But we have to be really careful because there are a lot of, gold diggers and people who are really evil, destructive people.
Yeah.
They ruined this guy's career.
People have done worse for money. People have killed people for money.
Oh, yeah.
So this is very believable that she could have done this solely for money. Look what happened with Kobe Bryant. Let's go with Kobe Bryant's case real quick. Kobe Bryant cheated on his wife, you guys know. And the woman he cheated with, they were able to get some of her text messages while they just subpoenaed them. And she's bragging about the money that she's going to get.
Yeah.
She's not bragging about the justice she's going to get.
No.
So it shows you how some people, oftentimes women, sometimes men, are willing to destroy a person in order to get money.
Yeah.
That's the point of this. She ended up being proved a liar, but it damaged Kobe. But he that's what he got. That's what he gets though for cheating on his wife. Mm-hmm. You get that you reap what you sow, but it wasn't, what she tried to do, she tried to have him put away for money.
Yeah.
Now, we're not attacking the entire Me Too movement. There obviously are people like Harvey Weinstein, who's a pig.
Yeah.
And who actually did rape people and
or even
coerce people because he's their boss. He's not supposed to do that.
Yep.
So there are actual Me Too's. It's just like this. For instance, let's give a good analogy. Some local government denies someone justice. There's some people who go out and protest. There's somebody on camera being murdered, chokehold, 4K, filming it for 10 minutes. I can't breathe, let me go. He doesn't deserve the death penalty. Some people protest, this is wrong, shouldn't be killing people. He should go to court, go through the system. Some people decide to go and loot stores.
Yeah.
In the Me Too movement,
it's a new form of protest.
It's a new form of protest. Let me get my Apple iWatch.
And
that'll make me feel a lot better about this case. And then you have the Me Too movement where
10 pairs of Nike shoes.
You get 10 pairs. Got to be 10 pairs. And then you have the Me Too movement where you have real legit cases, and then you have women who fly under that movement who were looting. Mm-hmm. This is a form of looting. This is the looting that they're doing. So instead of looting stores,
much more efficient way of looting.
It's more efficient, Use the system, and I'll take that in large bills or large payments to my bank account. Yeah. So it's looting. It's a shakedown, and lots of male celebrities complain about this. Anyway,
and there are legitimate cases, like you said, like Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was actually drugging people.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he admitted to it in his deposition.
He was one of my favorite people. It's really unfortunate, but. Again, I also think that these women should come out and tell their stories a little earlier than 50 years.
Yeah, don't wait 50 years.
Anyways, the point is, we got to be really careful and empathetic, so that we can avoid destroying people's careers, like what happened with Trevor Bauer.
Exactly, based off of accusations.
And Trevor Bauer, if you're ever watching this, I hope you are back in Major League Baseball soon. And I'm really sorry for what all happened to you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, this is going to bring us to the end of this segment. Stay tuned for the Daily Stupid.
How dare you!
All right, guys, welcome back. This is our section called the Daily Stupid, and boy, do we have some stupid stuff going on in
really
the world.
Stupid people.
Let's get into this story. Let's start with the short one first. This one's a little bit short, and then we'll get into our second one. First off, we're going to talk about. You guys remember the submersible that went down, right? They had the Nintendo joysticks, okay, and
to go down to 11,000 feet below.
Yeah. They have the Nintendo joysticks, and they had the. Hey Boeing, can we get some of that used carbon fiber?
Yeah.
That you've already stressed and, oh yeah, sure, here you go. Tax write-off. So they succeeded in killing, how many people? 8 people in their last venture? Something like that. 6, 8 people, something. Killed
including
a
the
billionaire.
founder, Stockton Rush.
Including a founder who was high on his own supply of pride and ego. And he,
At least he got to see the Titanic for the last time.
He died doing what he liked, what he loved.
The Titanic still killing people after 110 years.
Oh my God, it's crazy. The Titanic is a terrorist organization now. So now we have OceanGate co-founder. Now this story goes back a few months, but I decided to bring it up because I think it's relevant and I think it's stupid, and it's something that they are actively planning right now. So what's going on is they want to have a potential space colony above Venus by 2050. So what do we got? 25 years, something like that? 27 years?
Yeah. Why do they? Is Venus? Have they found it to be hospitable?
I guess Venus just makes sense. So according to Futurism, the co-founder of OceanGate, Guillermo. Say that last name? Sonline has shared his plans for the future, detailing his next venture, which aims to create a colony floating in space. The co-founder expects the project to happen by 2050 and involves 1,000 people living in space. So we've killed 5 or 6 people. Now we plan to kill 1,000. That's what I hear from this.
Well, at least he's
at least he's being honest.
he's aiming high.
He's aiming high. I mean, who in their right mind is going to trust a company that had Nintendo joysticks and they had to take weight off or drop weight to rise back to the top in their submersible to put them in space? 1,000 people.
More importantly, you'd think you would change your company to Venus Gate or, but that brings up a bigger question, which is, after Watergate, why would you ever name a company Gate? Like Ocean
True.
Gate? I mean,
Very true. Very true. It doesn't have a positive connotation.
No.
How about Hell's Gate?
Yeah, exactly.
Or
sounds like something could go wrong.
right. It sounds like, and something will go wrong, and something has gone wrong. So, first of all, if I'm an investor, I'm not investing in this company. Would you invest in this company?
I would laugh in his face.
I'd laugh in his face.
I mean, I
In
think
his
the
eyes.
whole space program, people should laugh in their face.
I'd be like, hey, real quick, do this real fast? Do this? Okay. And I just laugh. I think this is just another failure waiting to happen. I don't believe in second chances when you've made this sort of error. And then when you were actually planning to send down another submersible made of the same materials, that tells me you haven't learned your lesson.
It tells me you're stupid. And that's
It's stupid.
why we call this segment the Daily Stupid.
Congratulations. What's your name? Guillermo. You've made
You
it
are
to
an idiot.
So they're going to kill 1,000 people. So if you want to see space for the last time, go ahead and sign up for this mission. All right, on to our next Daily Stupid. What do we got?
Our next news is on Friday. So Friday, what is today? The 7th or 8th?
Today's the 8th, yeah.
Today, okay, so on the morning of
The Saturday
6th,
morning,
yeah,
wasn't
Saturday
it?
morning,
They attacked on the Sabbath for the
you
Jews.
had Hamas, who had a premeditated, planned attack on Israel, and they bombed a whole lot of different locations all over Israel, raining death down on people on the Israeli side, and brought a reaction, predictably, by the Israelis and on their own people. And now you have probably thousands of people who are dead, and
By now, literally.
Yeah. Lots of
and
people.
more about to, it's going to be a bloodbath.
you've got two groups of very inflexible people. One group who said, well, we're going to unleash a whole bunch of terror on people that have no qualms with killing a whole bunch of people as well.
Yeah, both sides do not mind death, and one side will be the clear winner.
Exactly. One side, which is the Israelis, they are armed to the teeth with one of the best
Air power.
air power militaries
Some
in
of
the
the best
world.
tanks in the world.
And, at this point, I'd be saying, if I was a Palestinian neighbor of one of these guys, I'd be calling up the 911 hotline or
I'm out of there,
whatever
man.
whatever.
I'm on the submersible
Their
out of there.
equivalent. I would take my
I
chances
call
on that
Ocean Gate.
submersible.
Yeah. Ocean Gate, we need you. We need like 10 subs.
This is the
I
only.
would take a sub out of there.
That is the only time Ocean Gate makes any sense.
I'm going to Egypt.
If they're gonna send
until
me-
this is done.
Anywhere, I would never go back.
Oh my God. I would never go back. Yeah, for real. Yeah, I'm done. Because here's what's going to happen. The last time there was some terror attacks, Israel, it was insane. Apartment buildings were coming down, guys. They were hitting apartment buildings. And they were big structures with probably hundreds of families. They were, guys, Israel, it was so bad. Other warmongers were like, okay, calm down. That's enough.
Henry Kissinger was like, take it easy. Take it
Bill
easy.
Gates is like, okay. We can't make this too obvious. This is
Henry
Hamas,
Kissinger was like, what about the people?
the humanity.
Actually, he did. He probably wanted him to kill more.
Yeah, when the warmongers when they did a ground invasion, and the warmongers were like, okay, that's enough death.
Yeah, but the point is, this is really sad, and I feel so bad because there's so many innocent people.
On both sides.
If the Israeli intelligence didn't know about this, I'm guessing most Palestinian people
Did not
know that their neighbor was planning on, launching a bunch of rockets over the wall and, driving a bulldozer through it, because the Israeli military was totally unprepared for this.
And the reason why is because they use tech. And the thing is they had, no one was talking about this because they kept this top secret.
Yeah.
Because if they had talked about it, others would have talked about it. And the tech that they use, guys, it's all through the cell phones.
Oh,
they're able to turn these on and monitor live. And it's just like what we have here in the United States.
Most times I am pretty partial to the Palestinians. This time, you guys are.
I still am, but it's Hamas that's the idiots.
You're stupid.
Hamas
seriously,
is stupid, man.
Hamas, you're a bunch of morons.
They're crazy.
And it's even worse that you're just going out and capturing grandmothers and women and children and taking them as hostages.
For their selfish purposes.
For selfish purposes that are just going to get a bunch of innocent Palestinians killed. Because the Israelis are just as brutal, maybe even more so, and it's going to be bad.
It's going to be really bad. And, Hamas was driving around with the corpse of some Israeli lady. Yeah. I saw some video where they were...
well, she was a German, actually.
Oh, she was German? Okay,
she was a German... No, she just was there for vacation. She was at a rave.
You see? And there are lots of people who live in Israel and who immigrate to Israel, and Hamas doesn't care. Collateral damage is fine with them. They just want death because in some way they see this as some sort of religious vindication.
It's going to bring God here sooner.
And they are willing to kill this amount of people knowing that this amount of people are going to die, and they don't care. So they are the most selfish. And if you think for a second that they represent your religion, and if you think that religiously that this is fair to the people of Gaza, that a couple of guys could make decisions unilaterally that can affect your life and kill your family members, you're crazy. And you should not be supporting an organization that does this.
Well, this is the thing. Iran has now stepped out. They're congratulating them for their Hamas for its attacks. And this is analogous, to basically ISIS just going over and capturing innocent people and chopping them up, whatever. This is a really bad
it's terrorism
thing. Yeah.
And if you want to go to war, attack the Israeli military. There's a whole bunch of them ready. Attack them. I'm not going to encourage you to do it, but if you want war, they're there in uniform with rifles. And actually, you're getting your war now.
Yeah.
I don't agree with either side personally. I don't think what happened back in 1948 when they created a state.
I think it was wrong.
I think it was wrong. I don't think using force like that creates peace.
Well, it wasn't force. It was just the British. I mean, we could go into the history of that, but
colonial. Yeah. Anyway.
The British basically made deals with both the Arabs and the Jews in terms of money and help with the war, and they promised the same land to two different groups of people.
And it wasn't the same.
And it has caused a lot of problems.
Look, you can't do legitimate business with a colonizer. The colonizers always have something up their sleeve. But anyway.
Yeah, but with this, that is the end of our Daily Stupid.
And the end of our show.
Yep.
Thank you of our podcast. Much. Yep. Guys, thank you. Once again, guys, like, subscribe, share this video if you find value. And we're trying to reach our goal of 1,000 likes. We appreciate all you guys for watching. And as always, we will see you in the next one.